Alright guys, tonight I had a couple of emails from a couple of people that are in here about my back testing, because I mentioned once in the past that I back tested a fair bit, and I used to use the strategy tester in MetaTrader 4 to do things, especially with the pseudo scalp, when I was scalping a lot more back in the days of YTR and being online with Todd all the time. And I found it invaluable because what backtesting did is it let me see setups developing without getting too emotionally involved, and letting positions run and getting a feel for the market. So I kind of think of it as training. Now, there's a couple of things that goes into backtesting or whatnot. The first thing is there's different consoles and different things that you can actually use to do it. I just use the standard strategy tester in MT4, and that's what I've got on the screen in front of you, and that's what I usually use. There's a couple of settings in it because it can be a little bit finicky and you can't place trades directly on it. So a big warning for everyone. There are some indicators, some special EAs that lets you run a back testing test on strategy tester and place trades, and that's the Trade Box strategy tester that I have on here. That's a paid, it's something that I bought so I could do my back testing. But as a general rule, do be careful. If you place a trade on the strategy tester during the week, you will place that trade on your live account. And I don't want anyone's account getting blown out because they didn't realize that. So a really big warning, unless you're using an EA that actually allows you to back test and place trades, don't place trades. If you want to go through manually and do it, I'll show you later on how you can mark it up yourselves. G'day Trish, how are you? So first things first is we want to actually open up our MT4, and what I do is I go to a profile I'm not using, as you can see down here. I've gone to the market overview. I've deleted every chart there is. Good to hear, Trish. And I'll delete this one as well. There it goes. And we can delete strategy tester as well. So I've got a blank screen. So the first thing is you go to the strategy tester button and either click on it or go to view and call up your strategy tester. And what will happen is you'll come up with this terminal, and it'll have a number of defaults already preset. And then what I'll do is I'll briefly go through them together, and I'll show you the settings that I use and why we use them. And then I'll actually call up the EU, which is what's set up there, and we'll actually strategy test it. We'll actually back test it, and a lot of us are using the swing favor technique, so we'll basically do that. We'll go swinging on a 15-minute chart and see how it goes. The first thing and the most important thing is your expert advisor. So I've got this cool little tool now that lets me draw thanks to Newton. This expert advisor has to be set, and I'm using a paid indicator or paid EA called TradeBox. It's not a plug for it. The reason why I use it is it lets me, g'day Matt, it lets me place a demo trade, or lets me place, what's the word I'm looking for? It lets me place trades on my back testing that don't actually go through my live account. If you're using any other EA, for example, there's a whole number in here that you can use. You will actually, if you use those to place a trade, you will place a live trade on your account. So do be aware of that. The only exceptions are if you're doing it over the weekend, you won't get trades through it. But, as a general rule, I'd not place any live trades at all. The next thing under Expert Advisor is the symbol. So choose a symbol you like to use. I like using the EU. That's what we're going to stick with. Underneath that is the model. What model refers to is it refers to how the strategy tester runs the candles. So there's a number of different modes. There's every tick, which is the most precise method, down to open prices only, which is the fastest method. Now I use every tick because you literally see every tick and you see each candle form. And that then gives me a better understanding of how price action's been going on, and what we're all trying to do is to learn to trade price action. We'll just be doing it at 32 times faster than normal, so which I'll get to in a sec. You can use a date. I just leave the default dates in. This is a very important button. It's the visual mode. The visual mode button, you click it because what that'll do is it'll actually put a chart up here that you can put a template on and trade off a chart. After all, like I said, we're trading price action. This slide bar controls the speed of how quickly the candles form. So if you've got it hooked all the way to the right at 32 times, the candles will be forming 32 times faster than normal. If you slide it all the way down to 1, they'll be forming at live price range, price action. So I normally have it on about 31.30. Then, during the Asian session where it's consolidating and I'm not bothered too much, I zoom it up a little bit more. The next thing here is you'll have a pause button and a play button, which is right next to it. You can skip to certain dates if you want to, but I wouldn't worry too much. Optimization. There's a button here on the far right called optimization. I wouldn't worry about that. Optimization is if you want to run an EA, say you've got a robot that you want to test or any sort of EA, and you want to check out different parameters, a different stop, a different take profit, play with the different moving averages and whatnot if using a crossover technique. You can run strategy testers to try to optimize to get like a best fit curve. To me, it's too complex for me. I can't figure it out properly, so I'll leave it to our smarter members and someone can give me a heads up on it. You can then set your expert properties, your symbol properties, modify your expert and start doing stuff. So I basically leave it as is. And once I'm happy with all those factors, all we then do is hit the start button. And it'll update. And there it is. So what we've got on this screen is we've got our trade box, which is the EA that I'm using, as you can see down at the bottom here. And it's got our price action, and I happen to have selected a 15-minute chart under period. So 15-minute euro dollar as is. Now, I'm not going to trade off that sort of screen. I'm going to trade off my 15-minute template. And it's come up and save those PNP lines, which I'll get rid of for everyone so they don't confuse you guys. Cool. There we go. As neat as can be. And we're almost basically ready. So any questions so far, guys, about the setup and what we've done? I hate it when it doesn't click when I want it. Okay, we can leave the rest there. All right then, guys. Well, the strategy test is about to run. Now, just briefly on TradeBox, what this thing does for me, it's got my balance account that we set up. It's a demo. So the first thing we need to do, what I always do, is I need to find out, given my stop, we're going to be using a 40 pip stop, a 50 pip target. I'll change that in a sec, and I'll use a 28 pip trailing stop. If anyone wants me to use something different, say so. TBX indicator. Now, at 40 pips, what sort of percentage do you guys normally risk per trade? What would you like to risk? 0.5%, 1%, 2%, 10%? What would you like? 0.5%, says Joanne. Cool. Any other takes? 1%, 2%? To 1%? All right, we'll go 1%. 1% of 10,000 is 100. $100 over 40 pips is $2.50 per $2.50 per pip, or 2.5 mini pips, which is what we've got there. We'll set our take profit at 50, stop loss at 40. Brent, any of you guys, what sort of trail would you like to use on this? Steve says a 32 pip trail. I get a little bit paranoid and use a 28 pip. So I'll just leave it as such. And then you can see our setup's already been set up there. So not too bad. Now, if we're happy with all that, the next thing I'd do is I'd go into my hour chart and my 4-hour chart and analyze them. I think we can't do that in the back testing. We've only got the 15 minutes. So what I do is I scrunch it up. Now, it just happens, whatever's happened here, I'll bugger off, is we've had this long consolidation. I don't use one. Steve doesn't like to use them, but we'll use 32 if I can't watch it. That's okay. We can still use 32 if you like, and just do it the proper way. There you go. And I usually use 60, and then I manually close out at 50 if I have to. So we've had a huge spike down, and this is where, guys, reading the charts becomes a little bit of an art and what you're used to. Personally, me drawing it up, huge spike down level 1 consolidation, then we've got level 2. The level 2 consolidation happens to be back up there. It's spiked down and gone back up through the US, and we've gone down to level 3, and then it's shot back up, broke the high. So this here, to me, going into Asia this day is what I'd call level 1. We had the head fake down and come back into level 1 and into level 2, and then somewhere along the lines level 3. It gets a little bit iffy when you start trying to draw it up. So I'll leave that up to you guys on how you determine it. Given that we've had a peak low and we've gone up to a peak high, okay, I'd be just a little bit cautious, actually, in all honesty. I'd still call that level 1, coming up into level 2. So my bias personally on this is long. That's just how I'd read it. We've come down, we've had a V bottom, big push down, it's come back up, it's kind of broken back into the range, broken above it, coming back down, and I expect it to go back long again eventually. So if we're happy with all that, all you do with Strategy Tester is hit either the start button or the pause button. Now, there's 2 buttons you have to be aware of. One is F12. F12 moves the chart tick by tick. Tick by tick. The other button is the pause button. And it'll stop and start price action. Because what you'll see when we do start is that price will actually zoom along fairly quick. So I'll hit my pause button, which will actually, on my keyboard, which will actually start the price. And hopefully you guys can see that price has started to move. Now we're just going through Sunday, and in a minute, let me just delete that indicator, guys, because the work time indicator doesn't show us the box. Auto sessions. Now I start Asia at 00. Don't worry about London. And then we go into US. There we go. Can you guys see those colours there? The green might be a little bit faint for everyone. So let's draw Asia in bright yellow. There we go. Can everybody see that yellow there? Cool, thank you, Sam. All right, guys, there's a black square. As we go on, the black dotted square is actually the London session. That'll actually cancel out. Yellow is the Asia session. Blue is the US session. And the work time indicator that comes out with Steve's stuff doesn't seem to work on the strategy tester for some reason. So, g'day Cheryl, how are we? So I'll stick to just using this one, and everyone can have it as well if they want it. It just draws boxes. So if we hit the pause button again, we'll start to get price action. Now you'll see that's actually flicking a bit fast. If I slow down and pull out the speed little indicator to the left and then start it, there you go. You can see that as I change it, price action will slow down a fair bit. So personally, I like it around the 30 odd mark or 31, depending on how I'm doing it and how much effort I'm putting in. For you guys, I'll just keep it zipping away. So we're still in Asia. It's formed a spike low just there. At any time we can pause it spiked up. Now, personally, if I was at work and I'd seen it spike down low and I've got all these wicky candles, I'd start getting a little bit antsy and start thinking of a possible long for a 5-pip scalp. But we're not going to scalp. Charlie, just change the number of days on the indicator, it works. Ah, cool, thank you, Newton. We'll just leave it as is, chat. So there we go. So when we're looking at swing failure, we're looking to see how the market makers actually handle price and whatnot in the last quarter to first hour or so out of the Asia box. So as we're watching there, if anyone wants to pause, just let me know. And we can always go back in. And on that candle there, I would actually take a scalp, but we won't take a scalp. And we're now coming into the end of Asia. So I'll just speed it up a little bit more. Market makers are getting a little bit more active. Now, this indicator here that shows me our session time doesn't actually show us 25 pips. So down there. So I'll just put it in manually. Start with the top one. It's about 25. 28.95. There you go. So what we've just basically drawn in is 25 pips above the high and low of Asia. Now we just see how the market makers actually move out. So given, in my opinion, that we're roughly through level 1 or level 2 consolidation, I'm not going to take a short. Okay, so what I would like to see is I'd like to see it head fake to the downside, and that's London starting to be drawn. So I want to see it fake down this way, and when it does, I'm going to try to take it up that way. And what I'm looking for is something like a spike candle with railroad tracks next to it, or solid railroad tracks, or something similar preferably near the bottom of Asia, or failing that, even better yet, down at the 25 pip mark, between 25 and 50 pips. Now, the market makers are pushing up and testing the highs. Just my luck, it goes the other way, but that happens. And we'll see what they do. Sometimes what you'll find is that it might take several hours and you don't get much of a pattern forming in the early sessions. So big spike candle. Now, if I was definite that this was level 2 and whatnot, I wouldn't mind taking a counter trend, and my counter trend would be on the close of a red candle into the body of this green one, and I'd look for 30 pips. I aim for 30 pips if it's a counter trend. I won't do any counter trends here. So what I'm expecting this to do is to shoot up and then actually reverse. And we can see it's starting to form spikes to the top, hanging around the mayonnaise or the 200 EMA, through the watermark, and now it's returning on me. So one push down. Let's go for another push down. It's forming a small head and shoulders, and my computer's starting to get hot. There's the break of the head and shoulders, which is my second push down. If we get a break of the low here, and if I get a spike candle formed, I'm going to take a long. Confirmed. Almost broken. Go down a bit more for me. Okay. Now, this might be a viable entry for me. I just like a little bit more body on that one, so we'll just wait. There she is. Okay, guys. Now, long, thin body. We've tested the stops. It's 1, 2, 3 pushes down roughly as a rough count. I've got a bias to the long side. So I'm going to take a long position now, and I'll reiterate it for everyone again. If you're using just a standard EA that isn't really set up for back testing, don't place a trade. What I'd rather get you to do is mark it with a line and say that's my entry and I'm taking it, mark your stops and do it that way, and then take a paper record of what you're actually doing. Me personally, the EA that I've got lets me place trades. Now, I've just moved the bias order. If I hit F12, hold on, there's the buy order. If I hit F12, it's just placed the trade. I don't know if everyone can see that. I'll zoom in for you. Hello. It won't let me zoom in. There we go. So there's our buy order right on wherever that was. It's automatically set a take profit of 60 pips, 32 pip trail, and our stop loss is 40 pips. You can see it. Thank you, Brett. So now we just let it zoom away, and I'll let it go full speed. So we've gone down a bit. Railroad tracking, hopefully. Retesting the low. I like the bigger view personally, because I still think we're in a big W. Slowly getting into profit, and now I just wait. Now we're into the US session, and I'll just pause it for you. Given this candle, this spike here, which would also be an entry, hasn't broken the low, it reconfirms for me my bias is still long. So if I get a break now basically below these candles, I'll consider actually closing my position because I've obviously misread the market, and that's just me. I don't let it always hit my full stops, although we will for the purposes of the backtesting. But this, for price action, for me, is confirming that we're into a fairly solid bottom. We've got confirmation here and confirmation here. This looks the start of a W, and hence this move that I'm expecting. So let's let it run into the US, slowly going up. We're up 10 pips. It's broken the 50 EMA. It's getting close to the 200. If I was counter trend trading, this is where I would have actually closed my position. We're into the early session of Asia. You'll notice our trailing stop's already been triggered, which is fantastic. I'll let it run for you, and knowing that it's in Asia, it's probably going to muck around and consolidate for a fair bit. Now, the beauty of a swing failure method is that you don't always have to take your profits straight away if you hit 50 pips, although we just hit 60, so I'm pretty wrapped with that one. Some people, what they'll do is that they'll get up and confirm, and when it goes into level 2 consolidation or whatnot, they'll move their trailing stop just underneath it by 25 pips, and then let price action move to level 3, and then rather than take 50 pips, take a 90 pip or 100 pip move. I'll slow that down for us because not too slow. Any questions on that trade we've taken so far, guys? Touch wood, that worked out all right. Cool. My bias is still to the long side because I still thought this was level 2, so we're moving out of level 2, and it will start to consolidate, and as it consolidates, I'm going to look for a long move to confirm my level 3. Can we retire yet? We only made $149.95, so you could try to retire on it. I wouldn't recommend it. Good on you, Brett. So little wicks to the top. Now, one other thing, guys, you notice that the Asia range here is 53 pips. So when it's like that, when it does this sort of extended move, don't be scared to sit back, ignore your indicator and redraw your box, because it's the last third that we're worried about. This is the real consolidation. This is still part of the move. So it's actually breaking long out of the box. Oh, I'll just shift my box because we're not out of Asia yet. And let's see what the market makers make here. So we're now on the close of Asia and we're approaching the handover time, so possibly a head fake up. And on the close of this candle, we could almost take a counter trend down if it closes below those ones. Now, if you wanted to counter trend, if this was over 25 pips, it's only 13, so I won't take it. If it had gone 25 pips up, I would actually take a counter trend for 30 pips on leg 2 and actually take a counter trend trade against the market makers. That hasn't gone my full way, so we let it run by itself again. And now what I'm looking for, if it's head faked up, I expect it to come back down and head fake down. And if it does, form that candle there, depending on how this candle here closes, if it closes green, I'll actually start taking this long. And it's not going to close green, it's going to go down instead. So are we going to get an outside bar? Not yet. This one closes, we take it. There it goes. So what's happened there, guys? It's quickly shifted up. It's shifted down to close some of them out. There's our wicks. and now we've got our push back up to the north side again. So we have rejection off the base here, off the low of Asia. We've had a weekly candle. That was red. I waited for this one, so I'm getting in a little bit later than I'd like. But that's my buy. And now we wait and see whether or not we can retire Brent. So, and that's basically what Strategy Tester does. Oh, cool. What you'll notice also briefly, guys, is there's a thin blue dotted line right through here. That was our first trade. Can everyone see that? Good stuff. Blue means, thank you, thank you, Ian. The blue means that we took a positive trade. We took it long, entered here, exited there, and we ended up in the money. What the strategy tester also does, which is really, really good, if you go right down to the bottom of the screen, is we have settings, results, graph, report, and journal. Under results, we can see the trades we've taken, the buy, the modify, which happens to be the stop loss taken effect, and the take profit was 60 pips. And we made $150 odd there on our $10,000 account, which is a 1.5 unit return, which is fantastic. This is our second order, and we're still watching that go. So if we hit the play button again, let's see how high this one goes. It's gone to break even +2, and it's trailing. Leave it alone. Now, this is where this is good for me because now there's wicks to the bottom there, so I'll actually leave that and see if it runs to target. Sometimes what I tend to do is actually move my stop loss underneath these wicks. And that's just the scalper in me, guys. I still have problems personally letting a trade run its full 50, 60 pips sometimes. I still tend to, oh, there we go. 2 straight trades, well done. Okay, if we had level 2 and we've gone to level 2 consolidation, after 2 comes 3, so I expect us to be in level 3 and level 3 consolidation. So what I expect to see here is a couple of head fakes, 1, 2, 3, almost like a head and shoulder pattern, and then a break to the south side or down. So my entire perspective now is to the short side. Even though we're above the 200 EMA, and even though we're above the 50 EMA, if you have a look, we're about 67 pips well above the 50 EMA. The market makers have enticed everyone to go long. We've had a 50 EMA cross over the 200. Everyone's momentum is now to the long side. The market makers haven't given out money all this time. What they're basically going to do is turn around now and say, hey, I need to collect on my contracts and I need my profits back. And they're going to start to shift the market. So if it is level 3, we expect choppy behavior. We expect it to be all over the place. Come into the current Asia box. I'll let that run while I talk. Coming into the current Asia box, I expect price to spike upwards out of Asia. As soon as I see a spike out of Asia in level 3 going into level 1, I will take an aggressive entry. Level 1, believe it or not, is sometimes where you can make some of the biggest profits, but it can also be the most volatile, the most choppy, and you can get burnt the most. So we're still in London here, so we had a really nice trade. And it's coming back down, and we're now into the US session. And we'll let that run. Whilst that's running in through the US, let's see, I expect it to chop and I expect it to muck around a little bit. Most likely might go sideways. We start seeing that level 3 behavior, that indecision, prices all over the place. We get candles and wicks and tails. What we want is we want to wait, let the market consolidate through Asia. and then have a look at how the market makers handle the highs once it goes to the high. So currently, this is our high through here, and I normally will draw the current high, and then just watch. There you go, they're testing those highs and making a new high above us. So the US range has been extended, and I'm not trading at all during this time. By this stage, after taking 60 pips, I'll go and cuddle my wife and go to bed, as I think we all should, and remember why we trade. So there's an evening star with a rejection to the top. If this is a rejection candle, if you wanted to be aggressive, you could actually take a short position. I won't, because it's level 3 and I'm not going to trade until I get into Asia. So if it was level 2, I'd probably start looking at the New York reversal, and in New York I normally aim for about 30 pips. With the London and whatnot, 50 to 60 pips is feasible. It's a good target. During the US session, early US, 35, 40 pips, late US, 20 to 30 pips. We just don't have the same sort of volatility or the amount of contracts in the market through there. So the market makers start to accumulate, and you can see the sideways behavior happening right up here near the highs. So unfortunately, most traders that don't realize it are getting enticed to go long. They're extending it, they're taking them long, and eventually when they have enough contracts, I expect this to whip round the other way. Although I look pretty stupid after having said all that, it goes into Asia and it goes high again, which can happen, guys. We can still have a reset, as it's called. But James is better at telling us about that sort of stuff. Any questions, anybody, or anybody want to say anything whilst this cycles into Asia? No questions? All right then. So on the weekend when I sit here, usually when I have my soul searching Sundays, I'll sit here and I'll put up one of the videos that I'll watch, and I'll have the strategy tester running. And all I'm doing is I'm following price and what's going on. Hold on a sec. Where can I get the trade box indicator from? Lloyd, it's a board indicator. If I could, I'd give it to you for free. Newton's been really good. He's given us an EA that you can place into Strategy Tester to run the strategies, and I'll make that available for everyone. So the only thing is with this one, you can't place trades with it, but it does let you backtesting EA, Dropbox, copy public link. That's in my Dropbox site, guys. So if you go to that site, you'll download the backtesting EA. You'll basically put that in here where I've got TBX TradeBox. Don't place trades, and I'll say it again, don't place trades on, especially if you're using a live account. On your demo account, you can do what you like. It doesn't bother me. Your live account, I don't want anyone to get burnt. What I'll get you to do is, like I drew the blue line here on the left-hand side, mark your spot where you're taking your trade, take a note of it, and set your profits and targets and note with lines, like we do here with our Asia box, and trade it that way. It's a little bit more rigmarole. You have to sit around and write everything down, but it's just safer, and I'd rather just not have any problems. I'm sure there must be EAs out there that let you place trades. I haven't found any, and Newton was really polite to actually do it. But can you play trades on demo though? You can, Jane, but what it'll do, the trade won't be on your strategy tester, it'll be on your demo account. So you'll put a trade, for example, to buy the EU, the strategy tester might show it going long your way, but in demo, in real life, it might be going south, and you're actually making a loss without realizing it. So please be careful for me. I'd rather you sit down and actually draw a box or a line and take it that way. And then just sit down and calculate your targets and profits and everything else. It's a bit of a ball breaker, I understand, but short of buying something like the TradeBox EA or some of the other ones, we'll figure out a way to do it. It'll be good. Now we'll let this run. Here we go. So we're now into Asia. Now, and you can see, guys, it's moved up, it's formed a smaller high, so that's where our latest high is, right there. The business of the swing failure is how the market makers actually deal with the swing highs. Now we've just had a drop down. That was probably a news-related event or something similar. Watch it cycle back up to the 50 EMA. And then as we come close, I've got to figure out why my computer's overheating. As we cycle back out of the 50 EMA or around it, you'll probably see it bounce and chop. Then I'm expecting a head fake. If I get a head fake back up and a retest of the highs, then I will take this south. So this is what I'm doing. And the reason why I'm doing that is I tend to think we're now in level 3. So let's have a look. So 2 trade, guys, we're up 3% already in 2 days, which is not too bad. And that's without compounding and adding to our positions, which is fantastic. Okay, little dojis happening, big push down. Now, this is called a vector candle. Does everybody know what a vector candle is? A vector, like in maths or physics, is something that has direction and momentum. It's got meaning. It's really pushed up. You can see our candles through here were just small little wispy things, and this candle here has come out with a fair bit of venom and it's shooting back up. And what do you think that'll do for people? If you're sitting here and you've just spent most of Asia sitting on your backside waiting for a setup, and all of a sudden you see price action zooming north, most people that trade emotionally, their first idea is to jump on the bandwagon because we don't want to miss out. As a species, we don't like being left behind. So this vector candle here is, in my opinion, the market maker starting to manipulate things. This is them starting to push up. They've broken the lows and they've enticed all the breakout traders to go this way. So let's continue. It's pushed up, pushed up. Now, guys, if I was trading my personal account, see how we've got the highs up here? If it touches the high, I would actually enter in on a short as an aggressive position. I would take a 0.25% stop on a 0.25% position, or 0.5%, or half a unit as we call it, on a 20-23 pip stop, and I'd actually start going south. As soon as it touch it and I'll actually enter it. If this closes down, nope, didn't quite touch it. So we've gone and vectored the other way. Cool. Missed it. Didn't quite fit my rules. Got a hammer formation. But notice though, we didn't break the high. So if we start coming back up into here, and if I see a couple of wicks, I will actually take a short. Anybody know what that pattern is? They're railroad tracks. So there's my short entry. This actual stop would be 23 pips above it, but we'll stick to our rules. And now we watch, and hopefully I've read this huge M formation, multi-day M, correctly, and I hopefully will expect this to run back to the 200 EMA and touch would break below it and walk away with some more pips. And so far so good. And this is why I'm not good at sitting and watching price actions, because there's wicks there and I'd get paranoid, and so I would move to break even, which the computer's done for us automatically. We're up. Go baby, go. Come on. Come on. You have no idea how hard it is and tempting not to sit here and just take that trade out. There we go. All right. Thank God for that. So there's our third successful trade. Now, if we've had a break of these lows and we were in level 3, we're now into a level 1 move. So what I'll wait for now is level 1 consolidation. My whole bias now has changed to the short side. I am not taking a trade against the new peak high. So this here is my new peak high at level 3. This is my level 1 move. And we'll wait for that to head into Asia. And my next trade again, I'm going to wait for a head fake out of Asia to the top side, and I will actually take it short. Can everybody see that trade so far and understand why we're not trading it anymore or not trading long anymore? Good. All right then. We've had 3 pushes to the high. After our push to the high, the market makers need to consolidate and take back their profits. So we've had a sharp candle up, a vector candle. And if anyone wants to find out the meaning of vector candles, there's a couple of cartoons on it. So we've had a vector candle straight up to the top, didn't break the highs and got rejected off the highs, came back up, and I took these railroad tracks to the south side. And now we'll wait for it to, geez, it's really dropping. This is when it sucks, when you take 60 pips and it moves 120. 171 pip drop. Oh well, we're still up 5% or 4.5%. So now we're in the US session. This sort of double pin formation and the start of the New York session, I would counter trend in the level 2 formation. However, because we're still in level 1 and getting to level 1 consolidation, I don't trade against the peak high. So the peak high is this. I don't want to trade back into it. I want to trade away from it. So having seen the drop, haven't taken my pips, I am now going to bed, and then I'll wake up tomorrow and we'll watch what happens through Asia and we'll trade. Which direction do you reckon we should trade? We've had a peak high above us. We've had a level 1 move down, short. So our next trade direction will be, anyone? $150 short. That's what Jane wanted to say, short. Thank you, Matt. And I'm only teasing Jane. Level 3 is our peak high. This has now formed a roof for us, Jane. And this is the first push down. So this is level 1. This is our new level 1. We never trade against the direction of the level 1 move. So as it comes into Asia, I'm going to expect it to jump. Ugh, my lucky's mental. You can't hear that either. I'm going to expect it to jump up. As soon as we get a formation up, I'm going to take that short. Oh, that's okay, Jane. There's a few videos around and whatnot, and you know, it's quite simple once you get your head around it. It's counting the levels and whatnot. That's the most hardest part. So, you know, Lloyd, how do we determine the levels? Well, there's 2 types of levels, Lloyd. There's levels that happen over a weekly basis, and then there's intraday levels. The levels basically refer to pushes. So we can have one push here, another push there, and that's your third. They're very subjective. So Lloyd, what I'll do is, I'll just watch this Asia thing at the same time, is there's a couple of videos going around, and then in James's forum, you know, he also talks about different levels. He's got a couple of videos on it as well. I sound like Willie now, don't I? Go and watch my videos. And don't tell Willie I said that. What I'll do is I'll gladly pass the videos on to you, champ, or I think in Howe's website that they're there. They explain the levels much better than I do. I'll just wait and see how Asia turns out, and then we'll actually go through it together, if you like, and try to count them. It is subjective. The best way to look at the weekly levels is either on a 1-hour chart or a 4-hour chart. And what you're looking basically, Lloyd, is 3 static pushes with consolidation in between. And you want the pushes to be at least 90 odd pips, 60 to 90 odd pips. But anytime, champ, if you're ever quiet and I'm not doing much, Skype me and we can have a chat, and I'm more than happy to flash my charts up and show you how wrong or right I am, by all means. You can always have a look. But I'll pass the videos on, and we're getting close to the end of Asia, so I'll put my hand on the pause button. Now, pause button. There's the wicks down low, teasing us. So now I'm going to expect price to shoot up. I'm not going to take the shoot up. That's the head fake out of Asia. So Lloyd, what we've got here is we've got a big dynamic push down. That's broken the previous low. Cool. And just Charlie champ, although. And that's my one. So that's the first push down, and now we've got this consolidation. So that there. So level 1 down, level 1 consolidation. So I'm going to expect this to head fake up eventually. And if it doesn't, usually it'll head fake 25 pips. That's actually a railroad track, and it's a little bit hard to see. Again, we've gone fairly quiet sort of thing. We're starting to form railway tracks, but they're still small. I want to see price move, hopefully a little bit higher than that, just above the high of the Asia box. And if it spikes above it, which is 25 pips odd, there we go. There's the head fake. Okay, baby. That's a very dodgy, small little shooting star. Okay. If this candle here closes red for me, back in our direction, that'll confirm it, and I'll take that as the head fake. And if it doesn't, I'll wait. So guys, can you see the 3 wicks to the high? This candle didn't break it, so I'm going to put a short trade on, and fingers crossed. So there we go. Now, Lloyd, because this is the first major move after a 3-move trend, we never trade against it, which, oh, bugger, that almost hit up position. We never trade against it. So we've had the one push down, we've consolidated, we've had a slight hiccup up, rejection off the 50 EMA, and a confirmed rejection, so we're going to take that short. Okay, it's in the direction of the market maker trend. Also happens to meet the requirement for a short trade for commercial traders as well. So touch wood. Now guys, see how we've got these wicks here? If I wasn't talking to you guys, if this was my live account, I would actually close. I would have closed on this green candle because I've had a huge rejection candle almost off my target, and these ones here, I'll take my 35 odd pips, 30 odd pips, and walk away and be grateful for it. But because we're using the strategy tester, we'll let it run, and by immediate hit 60 pips, not that I'm complaining. So this is now level 2 forming. And so Lloyd, we've had our first push out, consolidate. This is our second push. It's generally, so I read today, it's already moved 110 pips. It usually moves around 90 odd pips or so, give or take, and those numbers aren't hard or fast rules, but that's what we expect. So now we wait. We wait for it to go into the New York session. And we'll just see how it goes. And then coming back into Asia again, I expect it to head fake out of Asia up and then go short for us again as well. And then we start looking for long trades. So level 1 over here. So let's get our drawing tool out. So this is the level 1 push down this way. We've consolidated through this area. Slightly dodgy head fake, but we're not going to trade counter to level 1, and we're now into level 2. And I wish it was that easy. I've just missed out a bucket load more pips. You know, and I like the EU. So, and I'm probably cheating a bit because this is past price action. I think I remember the days in question. So, you know, bullshit walks and talks, as they say. But thank you though, Princess. See how it goes. The hardest part, if you can get your timing right, and if we can count the levels, the hardest part is counting the levels. If we can count the levels and get our direction correct, it isn't really that hard. It's knowing when they're going to shift the market, you know, and all we're looking for is a big push down, consolidation. Coming out of Asia, we want 3 shifts or, you know, 3 solid candles minimum with wicks on top pointing in the opposite direction, or a pin bar or railway tracks. And it's just finding the patterns. So what this backtesting does, and I'll sit here just like I am with you guys, I'll draw lines and I'll draw my boxes. You know, we're into the US session. There's a rejection, so if we wanted to, we could actually take that up again, but we're strategy testing, so we won't. There we go, Lloyd. So we won't take it, but I'd sit here and I'd watch it and just see how it progresses. So we're back on these lows, still testing them. So I would have actually entered into a long position there with a 1/4%, and it's currently gone against me 20 odd pips plus, so I would have been stopped out. That would have, for me, would have been a loss, guys, just so you know that it isn't always what we want to do. Counter trend trades against the major market movement trend aren't always that easy, so do be careful for me. So I would have lost a 1/4%, so we would have lost $25 off our $600 total. And, you know, at the same time, you can check your results and see how we've gone, and we can even check the graph, which, touch wood, we've had several trades and they're all looking pretty decent. So it's been a good week for us. And this is that chop sideways consolidation. Now, you know how we say the market's really slow through here? My understanding is this isn't slow. This is the market maker widening the spread and actually trying to accumulate more contracts. So they're saying to everyone, look, we've had a big push down. We're going to start turning the other way. You know, what do you want to do about it? So they'll move and move and move, and we'll wait and wait and wait. And we're going to wait until the changeover between Asia and London occurs. That's where the guys will start shifting the contracts. The market maker from the Asia session talks to the London session and says, look, we've trapped these much guys in this direction. Let's move the market opposite and we'll stop them out and we'll make a profit. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to entice you to go one way whilst they go the other way. And what we're doing, Lloyd, is we're counting these moves because they normally happen in 3 moves. So there's 1, that's 2, and we're now into Asia. Okay? So this is level 2 consolidation through here. This is what we expect to see. So this will trend through here, and there'll most likely be another push to the south side. Again, I'm expecting a head fake. It'll probably break the 50 EMA. You know, might come up almost to the 200, and then we'll push back down again, and then we're going to chop. And once it starts to chop, we're going to get level 3 behavior, which is all chop market and it's all over the place. And if we've just had 3 pushes down and we're in level 3, we expect the market to go which way, Jane? 3 moves down, guys. We're going to get a head fake to the south or down, and then we're going to go long up. That's right, Trish. So it's going to turn the other way now, Jane. So 3 moves one way, and then it goes 3 moves the other way, give or take. So, and that's what they expect. So we've gone south, south. We're going to go south once more, and then after that, we've got level 3 behavior where it'll chop and change and be all over the place, and then it's going to go north, consolidate, north, consolidate, north, consolidate, chop, 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 and then it will start going south again. No, Jane, hold on, let me just scrunch the charts up. This is level 3, our peak high. So we've had 1 push down, consolidation, 2 pushes down, consolidation. We're just out of Asia, guys. And we've had push down. We've just had railroad tracks off the 50 EMA. Okay. Now, this could be an opportunity to go short. So what we'll do is we're being aggressive. Hit F12. We've just entered a short position. And it's going against us. Now, whoops. See how it's broken my highs? Okay, that's a vector candle. I would actually start considering closing out, but we'll let it run. And we've now, let me zoom in, guys. This has actually moved against us. I thought there was 3 pushes in one direction. Jane, that's exactly right, Princess. There are 3 pushes in one direction. Now, there's a daily type push. Thank you, Anne. That's the trade box. Jane, there's 3 pushes on a weekly scale, and then there's 3 pushes on an intraday scale. The intraday scale you can always read with a grain of salt. So, for example, if this candle here closes short, I'm gonna double up on my position and go short again, which is part of my rules. So I could argue that's 1 push up, 2 pushes up, 3 pushes up on an intraday, on an internal day scale. And then we've also got our weekly scale. So over a couple of days, big M formation, big M, chocolate, big M, 1 push, sideways, 2 push, sideways. I'm expecting this to drop. Fingers crossed I haven't got it wrong and led you astray. The intraday ones aren't always that easy to read, Jane, because you can have, let's grab our drawing tool, guys, so please excuse me. We can have 3 pushes up and then it'll tank. We could have a strong vector candle up that way, and then we can have a strong vector candle that way, which is our railroad tracks, which will then tank. We could have a candle up, and then we can have a hammer or an evening star, whatever you want, confirmed with a break below its body, and then back down that way. And this area of consolidation, guys, will take between 30 and 90 minutes usually to develop. Railroads are a good indicator to long or short. What are the conditions of a railroad? Okay, the conditions we're looking for, guys, and again, the conditions are always, you take with a grain of salt. You want 25 to 50 pips break above Asia. Now, Asia here was really, really short and choppy. And then we've had another section. So I would actually redraw that as 2 boxes. I would take this as the head fake, and I'm hoping this is the head fake because I'm just about to double up on your accounts. And then we're going to take that south. So we're looking for, on average, between 25 and 50 pip break of Asia, and then either the railroad tracks Lloyd or an evening star, a spike candle, or several spike candles where the market makers have spiked and tried to entice people to go long, and then they've switched the market the other way. So if we zoom back into this one, and if we hit the play button, if that one closes below that body, this one does, if that closes below the body, because now I've got 2 spikes, and that almost, I call it my wife's legs. If I've got 2 little skinny legs to the top, which is how I like them, I'm going to take this south. So, and because it's your guy's account and not mine, I'm going to double it. So now I've got 2 positions running. and I'll let that run. Now, if I get a break of these spike candles, if I get a candle closing above those spikes, I will close both positions and not risk my full account. That almost came close. We're up on one side. That's a dangerous candle. Now there's a small imp forming. Hopefully that's a bigger imp. Close back down, forming here. There's our wicks again to the north. We've had wicks to the south as well, so at this stage I'm probably a little bit paranoid. Let her run. And Lloyd, that's your second spike high. So guys, if you wanted to, you could re-enter a position through there if this closes red again and actually confirm a push to the south side. And if we get it right, Lloyd, it normally moves really, really quick. I should have entered another position. Come on, hit my targets. And there, come on, don't do that to me. There we go. We've hit one. The other one's gone to break even +2 and trailing. Come on, hit 60. And that's, come on, thank you. So there you go, guys. So that's 4 days. And then we can actually tally our results. So not a bad week. We're up 9% now. Take out, $50 odd out of that because of that fake, that counter trade that I would have taken, which wouldn't have worked out. It would have actually stopped us out. But we're up 8.5% for 4 days, so not too bad. And this is what I'll do. I'll sit here. My son and daughter will sit in my lap, or I'll sit there with their laptop, or they'll play computer games on the Mac next door, and I'll sit here and I'll go through trades. And what the strategy tester lets us do is draw these lines. You can actually see the trades we've taken, and you can start to see the pattern. So there's the pins to the high, and they've come back up, and then we've had this pin to the high, and then we've had this evening star formation, then it tanked, sort of thing. Back up here again, we've had pins to the high and our movement south. In our level 1, we've had our level 3 consolidation, went really, really flat. We had a vector candle to the top, and then it dropped back down again. So I'll sit there and I'll practice and practice and practice doing it, and I'll practice my strategies, or I'll put on a moving average or a HMA, a 10 period or a 20 period, and use it that way. As far as I know, you can't. There was another program that would let you run Renkos, because I might be lying, and we can try it actually. If we go to, let's stop that. So guys, we actually did really, really well. So congratulations, we had a 100% strike rate, and we made $900 in 4 days, which is fantastic. If we wanted to, let's run, let's see if I can run, let's run a Renko on a 1 minute chart. Thank you, Arne. Yours works. So Brent, you can actually run an offline chart. So what I'm trying to do here, guys, is start a Renko chart. So I've just put on my Renko EA on a 1 minute chart, and it will file open offline EU. Oops, here we go. It's all over the place. That's Euro Yen. There's our Renko. Let's get rid of that one. Okay, so if we go to our 1 minute chart and hit the play button, No, my one won't let me do it, Chan. Sorry, Brent's one apparently does. So, Brent, would you mind typing what your indicator is that lets you run them and backtest a Renko? That would be fantastic, Chan, if you don't mind sharing it. And that way people that use their Renko charts can do it. And on my Renko charts, I just upload a bucket load of data and just physically move my charts across. And then all I do is press F12 and it moves it across bar by bar. And I'll sit there, because with Renko we're waiting for bars to open and close, and take it that way. And that's how we do our strategy testing. So, in a period of, Jesus, I've kept you guys a bit longer than normal. In a period of an hour and 15 minutes, we've actually done 4 days of trading. And you can speed it up and you can slow it down as it suits you. And then in turn, as you do that, sit there and draw on your chart. Say, okay, if I squish my chart up and squeeze in a week's worth of data, I can see one area of consolidation, a second area of consolidation. That must be a level 1 or a level 2 move. And we're getting into our third period, and then I expect a head fake. And start trying to anticipate where you want the market to move. And then it's just a matter if you can start to see things happen, then start to apply it to a live chart. Do be careful with the strategy testers that because it is going 32 times faster than normal, we can get a little bit impatient sometimes with the live charts, and it's also why it's important that you wait for your candle to close. And the idea behind this is then that the strategy tester helps to enforce our discipline and our trading plan, and we don't make any mistakes. And your trading will only be as good as you are as honest to yourself. So even though on paper it showed that we had deleted it, that we had a great trading week together and made $900, I've still got to take into account that I took a counter trade that failed. And that's what we do. And that's how I strategy test it. And I'll sit there and, if I don't want to trade the euro dollar, say we want to do silver, I don't know what this is going to look like. We just load it. Trish, you're more than welcome. And guys, I've recorded this, so I'll flash up the silver chart and see if it, should work in theory. Although currently it's not liking it's uploading data. I'll actually be, this has been recorded, so we'll make it available to everyone. Go through, and what I'll also do, don't take this as a paid commercial, guys, because that's the last thing I want to do to anyone. This is the website for the T-Box. Now, I'm not saying go and buy it. By all means, don't do that. What they do have is a tutorial section. Inside their tutorial section, let me just zoom in because my monitors are huge. Can everyone see that? Cool. I like it. It's a great little indicator. It lets me place trades, and it also lets me do lines. So rather than going in and manually changing trades, like the Look'em order manager, it lets you change stuff and everything else. There's a number of free trade tutorials in here. One of them is how to backtest, and the guy explains it much more succinctly than I do, how to set the trade strategy tester up in MT4. Now, admittedly, they're using their TBX thing because they're trying to sell something. So just please be aware of that. You don't have to buy. Follow the link that I posted to get the free EA and put it back on. Or if you guys want the Renko bar charts, Brent's just posted Renko bar chart version 103C has a backtest setting in the EA part, and it's a paid package. Thanks, Brent. This will actually show you how to set up the strategy tester and explain it a lot better than I did, hopefully. And you can see it there. It only runs for about 15 minutes or so, which is great. And then otherwise, have a look at the site that, find Renko bar chart version 103. Brent, you wouldn't have a website at all that you could type in where people can go and have a look at it. follow the site, guys, or Google search it, and then by all means give it a try. If you like using your Renko charts, definitely get into it. Thank you, Brenda. I really appreciate it, champ. I'll leave this recording and we'll give it a couple of minutes and see if you can find it. Any question, guys? Anything you want to discuss or aren't too sure or want to ask? By all means, not that I know everything, but that's how we backtest. And I'd like to thank Newton for giving me this indicator that lets me draw on my screen. So Newton, you're a lifesaver, buddy. It made it easy rather than trying to find it. Lloyd, don't worry if you got disconnected, buddy. There's a, I'm actually recording it. It'll take about an hour and a half, but I'll post the site, the download link, and you can watch it anytime you like, by all means. So if I haven't posted anyone, if you can't get it, Trish, I've got it here for you. Hold on. That way you don't bug Newton. It's called Zoom It. And this is my Dropbox. So if you click on that site, it'll drop down the Zoom It. And all you're done. That's great English, isn't it? All you do is double click on it and it sets up. And then all you do is just go into your systems tray or create a shortcut key, and you can use it to zoom, draw. Apparently there's a break timer. I haven't figured out what that is yet, but I just use it for the drawing tool, and that way people can actually see what my cursor is doing rather than trying to follow only a little bit of hair because I'm bald. Rather than trying to follow my, thank you, Trish, rather than trying to follow my pointer. So check out the how to backtest, look at TBX if you want to, and check out, try to look over what Brent said. Thank you, Matt. People just understand things differently, champ. James is really good at explaining it. I really like Steve's Moro's The Market Makers, and I came across a really good site called Forex Day. Oh, bugger, what is that site? Day Trading Forex Live. Haha. Got you. Okay, that's taken. Let's log out. Now, guys, this is a bugger. I just want to go to that site. I don't want to log in. There we go. Thank you, Rita. This is the Day Trading Forex Live website. It's two guys, Sterling and Chad, I believe their names are, and they trade similar to James and similar to the market makers. Don't have James's trading platform and cool little indicators and stuff, but it's a Forex course. And unlike some of the courses that cost $1 squillion, I think it's $300 odd bucks or $400, and it's a lifetime membership, and it includes the videos, and there's a free one there where they discuss their market maker. They call it the smart money or bank trading system, but it's basically exactly the same as the market maker strategy, and they go through how they go through the levels. They use a 1 hour chart, and that's why you see me sometimes flash up a 1 hour chart, as I use that to confirm and use that as my anchor. Brent, you thanks, Brent, for that. And guys, this is from Brent. It's at www.the-forex-strategy.com, and it's a plugin for MT4 to give you range bars, but it also has Renkos. It also has the strategy testing. And I am a member. I became a member last night. I watched their videos and Google searched them and everything else, because in all honesty, guys, I really enjoy the swing failure methods and what James has done, and thoroughly enjoy Steve Moro's DVDs, and I've done reasonably well out of it. still scalping in between, and I will scalp in the same direction that I'm going to move. And that's what I do. Oh, Lloyd, you're always welcome. And like I said, buddy, if you ever want to have a chat, and trust me, I don't know everything, and there's a lot of smart cookies there, don't be scared to give me a buzz and we can talk. But I became a member, and they've got a, it's a full-blown site. They've got a forum, they post trades, articles, and then they've got 8 videos now that they use, which is basically on their swing failure method. So a nice little site. It's not too bad at all. So guys, what I'll do is I'll stop recording, and this will be posted in a couple of hours, hopefully.